go ahead and get started, and I'm sure others will join us as we're moving along. So I will begin with a very quick roll and then turn it over to Nadine. So if you are here, just say yes, and we can check your audio. Kent Barnett will be joining us later, as will Jack Bierman, Eric Benderson, Mike Cole, Anika Cooper.
Here.
David Engstrom. Claire Evans should be joining us in a bit. Chai Feldblum can't make it today. Susan Sui Grunman. Janice Hoffman. Dan Ho. Renee Landers should be joining us soon. And Tristan Levitt will be a bit late. Richard Layton. Robert Lesnick.
Here.
Jeff Lubbers will not be joining us today, but he sent in comments ahead of time. Alex Manuel. Jen Mascott and Tom McCarthy can't join today. Melissa McIntosh. Patrick Nagel. Roxanne Rothschild. Robert Schiff. John Vitone. Chris Walker. I see you.
All right, I'm here.
I hear you too. Perfect. Melissa Wasserman will join us late today. David Welch and Russell Wheeler.
Here.
Great. Are there any ACUS members I missed? Great. Nadine, over to you.
Thank you. So I will do our usual drill. I'll try to give an abbreviated version since we have an abbreviated group today. As you know, only ACUS members and their designated alternates have full speaking privileges. Please mute your microphone if you can, please, so that we don't have background noise. Use the hand raise feature or the chat to indicate that you want to speak. Please do not include substantive comments or chatter in the chat. Once I call on you, unmute, say your piece, and then remute. And please use the webcam if you can. I know for some people that can be draining on their Wi-Fi, and to the extent that you can't, that's fine, but we would love to see you. It helps, I think, the process. With respect to attendees other than ACUS members and alternates, your participation requires consent, unanimous consent of the committee members. I will call on you and presume that committee members have no objection unless they raise one. If any participant would like to speak again, please use the chat feature or use your hand raise and wait until I call on you. Only members of the adjudication committee have a vote. Please do not vote unless you're a member of the committee. We are going to vote. Got to wrap this up today. So I think Matt made that clear at the outset. So can we pull up the draft? So my hope was that we could start with where we have changes in the recommendation. I'd like to keep the preamble for the end because I do really think it's well done. And there's been some stylistic changes throughout by the Committee on Style, which I think look great. I know there were some stylistic changes in paragraph 2 to try to edit out the repeated references to open proceedings. And I think there's some changes here on this page I'm seeing now from Russell and Jeff. So Russell, you wanted to add to paragraph 1, it's paragraph 1C. Is that, am I looking at that right? Yeah. Yeah, 1C. Just to clarify that it's either one.
Yeah, a lot of these suggestions I made are after I read it and I had to stop and go back and I thought, well, if I did that, maybe other readers would, but I think you might ask yourselves, yeah, I would add open, or because obviously a closed proceeding, one might appeal its closures. So I would add that.
Just to make it clear, I think you raise a good point. If you read it and had some questions, somebody else might as well. Any thoughts on paragraph 2, the edits there? I think, was there something there from Jeff?
Yep, just stylistic changing how
Stylistic, yep.
they should do so to how they
Yep.
should register.
Okay. Anything on 2, paragraph 2? Great. And then the last part of paragraph 2 is now paragraph 3. Any thoughts there? Okay. Russell, do you want to speak to this one?
Well, yeah, I just, this may be my ignorance, but would there be appellate proceedings other than oral arguments that would be generally open to the public?
So here we were trying to get at proceedings other than evidentiary hearings and appellate proceedings, which are typically closed. Does the revision to paragraph 6 help clarify that point? So now it would read, agencies should consider whether types of proceedings other than evidentiary hearings and appellate proceedings, such as investigatory hearings and pre-hearing conferences, comma, which are typically closed, comma, should be open to public observation.
I think that takes care of it.
Great.
Was there anything further in paragraph 5? I see Russell Wheeler's name there. Was that just left?
Well, no, it's been taken care of.
All right.
This was the, you had changed compelling interest to compelling interests.
Yeah, I
and then
didn't want to
or
suggest
an
that there couldn't be more than one. That's all. That
Yep,
fixes
That's
it.
right.
Great.
Okay, and then we have a Jeff suggestion here. And he's not here to speak for himself, but we can read. He gave us an option, which is wonderful. Anybody have a preference?
Well, if you ask me, I prefer the first version. I think reads better.
That was my inclination. But I always appreciate the options. That's nice. Jeff is giving us choices. We fixed 6. That is done. Russell, you had an edit to 6A.
The suggestion, it says whether public, is it A? Oh, yeah. Public access, it seems tautological to say whether public access would facilitate public participation. But if you add an agency decision-making, I don't know if that's correct or not, but if it is, that's the goal. It seems to me then it clarifies why it's not just a repeat of what's on line 111.
I think that's fine. Okay. Russell, again, an example you're saying
I
here.
think we've talked about this, yeah, but I just wondered who these individuals would be. Are they
Intended
parties?
to be what you have, parties or non-parties.
If that's
Basically any
accurate.
individual.
That's accurate, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was intended to be any individual, whether a party or not. So it could be parties or non-parties. Or and.
I think it should be and.
I think and, yeah.
Okay. Russell on 8.
Well, it's just a question of whether or not you remind them not to schedule the things in small hearing rooms to discourage public participation. And this grows out of my experience in dealing with the immigration courts, in which there were often charges of the immigration judges would have an open hearing in a broom closet and say, anybody get in the broom closet, feel free to come in. Now, it may be just unnecessary or gratuitous, but I just thought I'd raise the point.
Yeah, I guess when I saw this, I know for our agency, at least, I can only speak for our agency. And again, this was pre-COVID. We were fortunate to borrow courtrooms around the country, and at the mercy of what we could get without having to pay for space. And now I'm hearing it's, a little more difficult to secure space. But I get what you're saying. It's kind of a hollow endeavor if you're going to want people to come in and you're in a tiny little space. I just wondered how much control the agency has. I'm sure there's some options, but maybe in some instances there's
I don't feel real strongly about it. I just thought I'd raise the point, and it would come across, as I said before, as a gratuitous observation. You're sort of assuming bad faith on the part of agencies. I delete I withdraw the suggestion.
But I do think, the idea of allowing, remote access, right? That's where you would really want to think about, if it's too small to contain the people, then they can be anywhere and participate. Right. So it's a good point. Okay, I think paragraph 9, except for Russell's comments, a lot of that was stylistic, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, it was a very long sentence, basically.
Broke it up.
Yep.
Russell, on
line 152.
Correct.
This goes back to discussions we had at the last meeting. It's just 152. It's just an advisory to agencies that they should realize that once they allow a live transmission, that parties are going to record it. And as I indicated in my comments, this may scare people away from doing it, but it's just a matter of full disclosure.
Well, and that maybe goes hand in hand with your comment on B, in terms of how do you enforce this idea that.
Right.
I will say with B, share visual content, what that was intended to refer to is exactly what I'm doing now, which is I'm screen sharing, as opposed to it will be rebroadcasted and everywhere. The idea that a public observer shouldn't be able to suddenly take control of screen sharing or use screen sharing.
Oh, I see.
Can we add some language to make that clear? I didn't get that either.
Sure.
In a screen sharing platform or something, in a virtual platform, something that makes it clear that's the specific context, right?
We could say in C, use chat, screen sharing, or file sharing features common in internet-based video conferencing software. I mean that.
And then would you delete B? Or
yeah, I mean, we could.
Yeah.
Maybe document annotation.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a phrase that doesn't occur to me at the moment that would differ. I see the point now. Now I understand entirely. Things which a member of the public cannot normally capture. Because if they can capture it, they're gonna copy it. But if they can't capture it, I don't think I could not capture what's on the screen now, except by taking a photo of it. So maybe now's not the time, but something to get something to reflect the idea that there are certain items that cannot normally be captured. Those are the things you want to make sure they can't be captured. Is
there a way? Because it looks like now this is very short. Is there, I know there's a way to, yeah, maybe that's the best way to,
You could just make it part of the sentence before.
that's what I was thinking. It's not really a list any longer. So, and then I do want to go back to Russell's point about that the line at 152 to 54. I hesitate to suggest making it a separate point. I mean, it's almost, is it enough to just say you should be aware of it? Should we be recommending that they consider how to, I mean, I don't know what that answer would be.
Well, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do anything. I think what we're talking about is moving into the 21st century. Once you start broadcasting this stuff, if people have access to it, they'll copy it.
Yeah. Anika, I see Anika, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think making the point that agencies should be aware of this makes a lot of sense. But I am concerned that the way it reads now, it almost reads like it's a legal determination that it's perfectly okay. But I think Russell, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the point you're trying to make is that, look, even if an agency has certain rules and procedures that are applicable in their physical spaces, right? Let's say an agency has a reg that doesn't allow cameras or recording devices in a hearing room or something like that. You're trying to tell them that, look, if you stream it, you really just have no control over whether or not that's happening. You should know that up front. Is that?
That's the idea. And I don't want to phrase it in such a way as to scare people off. I mean, I think it's a good thing, but it's just a question of whether or not some agency officials who may not be aware of this stuff, as we are, having wrestled with it for a couple of times, would be unaware of it. I mean, maybe it's better left unsaid. I don't know. And, let them find out on their own.
I actually, as agency counsel, I would like someone to remind me of that. So I think it's a good thing to be in there. I wonder though, if on line 53, we might add something like may choose to record this so that it sounds less sort of legally. And then also add the idea at the end of the sentence that, regardless of what regulations or rules may exist in their physical hearing rooms, just so that they get the contrast there. Because I agree with you, there's really nothing you can, do about it. You can just hold up a camera phone to your computer and record whatever you want at this point.
All right.
Russell, what do you think of those?
I think that's fine.
I wondered if it should come at the end. It seems to be kind of a good punchline at the end as a reminder.
Yeah, I think that's better.
And I like the may choose. That's a good fix to make it sound. Think twice, public. Maybe you don't want to do this.
And maybe instead of should understand, just should be aware.
Aware?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. Thank you both. Okay, paragraph 10, Russell.
Well, there's a lot of telling agencies to consider things. Do we want to say that they should act on them or should just consider them? Yeah, I considered it and didn't do anything about it, but I considered it. I don't have language to suggest, and maybe in a sense, it's a difference to the drafters. If they like it this way, that's fine with me. It's just something that caught my attention. And I asked, well, what do they do when they, what's the result of the consideration? And it applies to the whole paragraph.
If so, address, I mean, I was trying to think of a way to say, address, want them to take some action. I think that that's a reasonable question there.
But I don't think you want to add that phrase after every one of the sentences, because
Right.
everyone begins with agency should consider.
You could say agencies should consider whether interested members of the public are likely to encounter any barriers, and if so, take steps to remedy them. For example,
Yeah,
measures may be needed to accommodate people with disabilities, blah, 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 blah.
yeah, that's much better, to my mind.
Leaves the last sentence. You could just say security protocols. Something like that. Or
Yeah, that last one's tricky.
Well, may need to be adjusted to make
Yeah.
something like that.
If they make.
Or it may, 166, this sort of says security goes out the window if attendance is impractical or difficult. Maybe to consider adjusting or something, something to indicate that it's not an automatic.
They need to account for,
Yeah, that would do it.
account for security. I don't even know what that, but no, I'm not sure that's right. Maybe it's just consider. I mean, we were able to eliminate consider
Yeah.
in the middle here, so.
Well, no, it still calls, it suggests a need for action.
When do you want to use to listen to this?
Oh boy, sorry about that.
To adjust.
I mean, it's the same.
Same.
I mean, we could use the same thing as before. While accounting for, or something. I mean, I don't know. This may be difficult to draft on the fly. This is where you'd say accounting for reasonable security needs or something like that.
Yeah, can we leave that to committee on style?
I think so.
Kind of smooth it out.
Yep.
But the rest of it, I think, is good. I think it's just that last line, just making it flow. Thank you, Russell. That's good. Good catch. Okay.
My comment here has been reflected in line 191.
Are you referring to the one at 171, Russell?
No, when you put the and in there, you replace the or with an and, that solves the problem that I had. Otherwise,
Oh, sure.
you could only do one of them.
You had a comment on paragraph 11 though, regarding consider whether to.
Oh, yeah.
extend
To tell why you want to provide advance notice to close proceedings. I don't think you actually say why. And again, you may want to just remind agency officials that, you need to tell them tell them that. So if somebody wants to protest the closure, they can do so.
Are you thinking maybe language at the end of
Yeah.
that sentence?
Well,
what
well,
that would do?
They need to provide public, that are not open to the public observation to allow, challenges, something along those lines. And we say earlier that people can challenge a closed decision. This just squares it up, completes the circle.
What if we said like in the event that, or something, I don't know, I'm trying.
Yeah, and event agencies wish to, in event individuals wish to challenge.
That's good. I like that better than, yeah. Russell, does that?
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Okay. And this next one is fine. Okay. Ah, we're back to the one we left last time. Yeah, we kind of got stuck on this one last time. I'm hoping we have a fresher outlook on this. We did take note of 2017-1, which was basically pointing agencies to provide adjudication materials on their website, which I assume would include transcripts and recordings to the extent they have them as part of the case record. So one thought is to build on that and say in like line 213, in addition to providing public access on their websites, an agency might, for example, so the baseline is that we're thinking you're going to put this stuff on your website, but that there are other avenues you could use, right?
Might also.
And then I think that will fit with our reference, which we'll get to in the preamble where it was added in a footnote, so that the understanding is that you're already following this recommendation. So what are the other things you could do? So we would get rid of B because now B is already covered, I assume.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
Okay, and Jeff had a comment here in B.
The rationale behind this was you shouldn't necessarily do this in most cases. And we want to caution agencies that sometimes it might be appropriate, but think long and hard before doing it.
His point is, doesn't the weighing the cost and benefits apply to all these items, not just to the one in B? If the point is well taken, you could change line 215 to read might also weigh the cost and benefits of, and then get a bunch of gerunds in there.
Or you
But
could use
it depends on whether the committee thinks that Jeff's comment is well taken.
Yeah, I like the as appropriate. That's very ACUS. And then we could take that out. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it both sides. I think he has a point that, presumably agencies are going to do this anyways, but that one in particular is tricky. I think we need an or. Right there, yeah. You're way ahead of me, Jeremy. Okay. So any further thoughts on this one? I know, as I said, it gave some of us some concerns, pause. I like that it's a little softer now. It's kind of understanding that you're going to make this available on your website, and then there are these other avenues where you could expand access. you can pick one or do all of them if you really wanted to. But. Okay. And then Russell, you had a thought here at the end.
Well,
That
this goes back to our discussion last week. I wish Judge MacArthur were on the line because I think he's sympathetic with this. It's just making the point. It's a reminder again that you don't have to worry about at least making copy. If you make the proceeding available in real time, people can watch. There's going to be less demand for transcripts and copies and all those other things.
I wonder if that's the spot for it. I mean, I think that's a fair point. I wonder if there's a better spot for it. Early, yeah, I was gonna look up, Jeremy, but further up, I don't know, maybe not.
It's a separate point from paragraph 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think it belongs in 16. I thought maybe Nadine, you wanted to just put it in the preamble, and that'd be all right also.
Mm.
I don't know exactly where, but we could find it.
I actually like that idea. It does sound sort of preamble-like. Okay. Have we hit everything? I think, Jeremy, on the Rex, could we jump to the preamble anyways? Is that a good segue?
Oops. Sure. I think there was the last, but if nobody had any comments in 17, I think we're done.
Mm-hmm. I'll give it a minute. What did we learn with our last recommendation? You're supposed to give like 6 seconds. Allow people to unmute. I think that's been plenty of time. All right, let's go to the preamble. We could try to find a spot for this and then work through the few paragraphs that are there that are just really a model of good writing, in my opinion. Let's see.
Somewhere around here, probably, where we refer to making transcripts available and then redacting them, I presume.
Yeah.
Drop it there for now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could play with the language, it is likely, it is possible that will reduce, something like that, make it a little more, so it's not agencies should consider.
Or just broadcasting proceedings in real time may reduce.
Much better. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Let's go to the first paragraph. This was, I think, this was from a while ago. Jeff had this.
Yep.
Reordering, and I'm not sure that we ever talked about it. So any concerns there? It made sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
And this was, we had a suggestion here from AGA staff, which I thought would work well. Jeff is not, I assume, Jeff has seen this because it was circulated ahead of the meeting. So if he had any concerns, I think he would have raised it. Any comments about the alternative suggested there? I think that accomplishes what he was getting at. No, I think it's probably fine. The new last line there.
Maybe the next paragraph, actually. Because this paragraph basically lays out the existing law, and the following paragraph lays out policy objectives on top of existing law.
No, that's a good point. Let's move it there. See how it looks. It's gonna be there, Russell, no worries.
That's okay. No, it's fine. One small comment, the footnote,
Mhm.
I think the name of that case is not Superior Richmond Newspapers. I think it's just Richmond Newspapers.
You're right.
Anything on lines 9 to 20? Okay, next paragraph, Russell, you suggested just saying balancing.
Well, it's my
Yes,
thing about careful, just say, yeah, it saves a few words too.
I think that works. I mean, I think that point fits there. It might need an also somewhere, like may also, I don't know, or an also, I don't know, maybe not. Just to smooth to, but I'll committee on style, not gonna worry. And then the next 32, Russell, line 32.
It sounded, when I read it, it sounded almost like special pleading, poor us, all these drawbacks, but that's, the drawbacks are peculiar to almost any legal proceeding to a court of law or anything else. So the prefatory language just makes that clear.
I like it. Any comments? Okay. We have the new footnote, which we already. Oh. Last paragraph. This is to avoid the usual, yeah.
Yeah, and it just picks up the language on the same point in the recommendation itself, the in addition to formulation.
Anything else? There, I think that's it. So if we're truly done, do we have enough to vote, Jeremy? Or should we circulate? I should have asked you that before the meeting.
I think Sean or Matt Reeve.
What is circulate what and to what end?
Can we vote now, given that we have just a few committee members? Is that okay? Does it matter? Does the number matter?
No, I don't think so, Sean. Let me turn to Sean on that one though. Is Sean on the line, Reeve?
I don't see her. No, I can advance my slides. For what it's worth, that sounds right to me. I don't see any problem with
Good.
taking a vote.
I was hoping you'd say that. We don't need to wait. I think some people are joining in a little while, and to the extent that we'll be finished.
Do you want me to add, Reeve? What do you want to do? I don't know where she's working now.
She had to jump off for a call at 2:30. She mentioned.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I just didn't know if there were any. We've usually had a more robust turnout when I've gotten to vote time, but I feel like since it's our third meeting, many people have already contributed along the way.
I think that's right. And in the absence of anything in our bylaws that would preclude a vote under these circumstances, I think it's appropriate and advisable to take a vote at this time, Reeve, and we will confirm that with Sean after the meeting. And so I think that it would be fine to take a vote. You can, probably the best way to do it, to take the vote, is just to ask if there are any objections to the adoption of the recommendations. You could do it, that is by unanimous consent.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Chris, for suggesting that. So
But that's the method of voting. There's a separate question, which I think we've already answered, which is it permissible to take a vote given the attendance at the meeting right now? And I think, and the answer is yes. Is that right, Reeve? Do you concur with me on that?
I do, yes. I concur.
Okay, so then if you want to proceed as Chris suggests in terms of the method of the voting, that is fine as well.
yeah, any objections as it stands now? We've walked through the entire document, the current draft. Okay. I was going to count to 6, but so hearing none, I think we're in good shape. We're finished.
And I think that this, Nadine, I think this recommendation has very wide set, probably unanimous support among committee members, many of whom have put a lot of their time into this recommendation during the preceding meetings. And thanks to them, and thanks, of course, to you for getting this done. This is a very carefully drafted and well done recommendation, in my view.
Well, we've had good support from everyone, including
And Jeremy and Mark. It's not,
your staff. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Anything else we need to do?
I don't think so.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for your support and your help. And for those of you who joined today, I know it's a holiday week, so a difficult time for people to be. I know I'm trying to cram 2 days of work into, a week's amount of work into 2 days, I should say. So I wish everyone a happy holiday, and thank you again, and we'll see you at the plenary. Thanks
And you as well. Thank you, Nadine. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.